So I'm with Amy Hoyk. She and her family sailed around the world on their Catana 431 Morning Glory from 2010 to 2017. Is that correct?
2009.
2009. Okay, cool.
To 16. Yes.
To 16. Okay, I'm off by a year. I give you my years, maybe. Um, so to start off with, can you tell us a little bit about Morning Glory, your Catana?
Sure. It's a Catana 431, a Catamaran, French design. Yeah, I'm not sure what all you want to know about it.
Well, tell me a little bit about the layout and some of the things that appealed to you when you first walked aboard and knew that it was the right boat or knew that it
Sure.
was a contender.
We got the owner's version. We were looking for an owner's version because we have two children, as you know, and we wanted bunks for each of the kids, and we wanted a master suite, and then we have a nice shower, a full-size shower, where the charter versions will have kind of the shower head combination. We wanted the big full-size shower, which is really nice for living. And with Catanas, they have a big cockpit that's not cluttered by any sort of helm station. They have the helms are kind of off in the back, and it gives you great visibility. You can see the sail, all the sail trim. You can see around you, so you don't have to worry about running into people, which is nice.
Always a good one.
Yes. And it's great. It's the perfect size for us. So many people want bigger boats, but it worked well for us.
So were there certain aspects of the Catana that made you choose that boat over other boats that you looked at?
Yes, yeah, we were looking for round the world sailing, so we wanted a cruising catamaran. We um, we wanted a boat that was strong, and the Catana has under the waterline. It has Kevlar, a Kevlar skin, so that's extra protection for in case you like hit a container or something like that, so you won't have punctures and problems. We also wanted dagger boards, which well, dagger boards are great for pointing into the wind performance,
Yes.
and not just down when you're going into the wind. For storm conditions too, you can raise them up, and that when the waves come, that gives you leeway so that you can go down the wave. It's just for safety's sake, it's great for that, and also for downwind. You can trim with your dagger boards, not just with your sails. You can raise one up and down, and just get the perfect trim along with the sails and with the dagger boards by fiddling with them. It's always fun to do on a long passage when you're kind of bored.
It sounds like the Catana is a boat for somebody who really enjoys sailing. Like I get that impression that you're a sailor as opposed to somebody who just happened to travel by boat.
Yes, yeah, it's great. It's an excellent boat, even if you aren't that performance driven. It's still a great boat because it's comfortable. It has like I said before, the outdoor space is wonderful. It has a big cockpit, great for entertaining. Uh, and it also doesn't have deck hatches. Many of the boats have deck hatches, which you would think that would be great for, to get wind airflow. Ours are on the side instead, and we get plenty of airflow on the side, but we don't get that solar radiation to heat things up. So
Oh.
we really like having a solid deck, and also there's not things to trip over when you're running up and down the sides. It's just a nice smooth flush deck.
Well, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, oh, neat.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the things that you would change about the boat or that you might have changed over time?
Well, one thing about a Catana that we are changing currently with this refit is the holding tanks. Our holding tanks are stupid. It's a really stupid long run from the head to the holding tanks, which are under the bunk, and then to pump it out, it's got to go further back up, and it's just unnecessary. So we're changing the holding tanks, moving it closer to the head. Um, that's the main thing.
Oh, that's pretty good. Um, so tell me, you went around the world. Obviously, you were in a lot of different conditions. Were there any conditions that the boat really excelled in that you really felt like this was what the Catana was built for?
Oh, all points of sales were great. Of course, everyone likes a nice beam reach, you know. Um, but downwind, we did a lot of downwind sailing, and it was great on a catamaran. Any catamaran is great, you know, compared to a monohull, because you don't have that flopping back and forth that monohulls do. It's much more stable of a ride, so that's great. We did get a whisker pole when we were in South Africa, and that is one thing I would have loved to have had from the very beginning, was one or two whisker poles, because when you are going downwind sailing, which sailing around the world is mainly downwind sailing,
When it's
you
not.
pardon, yeah. But it helps the sails from flopping around when there's light air, and you know, and the sail just opens and closes and open and closes. With the whisker pull, it just keeps it open, and it's a lot less wear on the sail and on your nerves. You don't have to listen to that flapping and snapping.
Right.
And so that is another thing that I wish we would have had in the beginning. I would have
See,
changed that.
you're not, no, people can't see you, but you're not a very tall person. You're quite petite. So how did you find reaching everything on the boat? Are you able to reach the boom comfortably? Can you do all the handling of everything all right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's another reason why we like the Catana, is because all the lines are run to the cockpit. So I can reef myself. I can, you know, shake out a reef. I can raise the sail, lower it, everything from the cockpit, and easy to get to. If I need to get to the boom, um, we have a hard bimini, and I just walk on top between the solar panels, and I can, you know, make sure everything's tucked in and zip up the bag, the sail bag and everything. So yeah, it's great. It's easy to get to. No problem with that. It might be a problem for taller people. They might have to go up, like if you're over 6, if you're Evan's size, your
Right.
husband's size, or you know, 6 plus, 6 feet plus, you would probably want to go up to this bigger size Catana um, because of the headroom. But for us, it was great.
Nice. So you had two kids who started off relatively little when you started off and ended up as pretty much full-sized people. So how was the live aboard space for the four of you? How did that work out?
It was great. They had their own bunk. Many people on monohulls didn't have their own. The kids had to share bunks, and I guess they also had more kids too. Some of those spaces had more kids, but yeah, it was great. That's to have our hall and the children's hall. It was wonderful that they could go and get their privacy. We could go to our side and get our privacy, which was fabulous.
Well, not having a giant boat, like you could fit it into a reasonably sized boat for what you had and still have a
Yes,
comfortable family. Like,
absolutely.
by
Yes.
house standards, boats are never very big, but by boat
No.
standards, they start to look bigger. So, how did you come to choosing a catamaran over a monohull? What happened that made you decide a catamaran was the way to go?
Well, we originally were looking for monohulls from the very beginning. We went shopping for years looking at monohulls, and it was hard to find the 3 bunks. It was, you know, 3 comfortable bunks. It was difficult to find until you started getting to great big boats, and that was, at the time, was out of our price range. And we would go chartering each winter, and just to try out some boats and a family vacation. Instead of going to Disney World or something like that, we'd go to the Caribbean and take a boat. And one year we sailed out of St. Martin, and there was a horrible groundswell, and the anchorages were just awful. They were just rolly and hard to sleep. And one night my husband got knocked out of bed from the roll. And you're on a charter boat, which is wobbly anyway. It has there's no weight to it because there's no gear. And we were just having a hard time sleeping. And we had gone to St. Eustatius, and we climbed the Quill, the volcano, and we looked out at the anchorage, and there was our boat with the mast going back and forth and back and forth. And beside us was a catamaran, and they were barely, the mast was just barely going around. And we, the owners of the catamaran happened to be up there hiking also. And so we had a conversation with them, and they were telling us all the wonders, the wonderful benefits of catamarans. And so we were so, well, we really got us thinking. We weren't quite sold yet, but it got us thinking about catamarans. And then the next year, we chartered a catamaran. We chartered a St. Francis 44.
Oh, fun boat.
And yeah, and we liked it. We really enjoyed it. It was great for the family. It was comfortable. We could really see the benefits. And you do spend most of your time when you're cruising at anchor, which is a really nice, solid platform with a lot of living space. It's great. You may not get the same feel as a monohull sometimes. You know, you don't get that heel, which some people just absolutely love, but I find it difficult. You know, we're
Yeah.
trying to cook dinner at a heel and trying to live your life at an angle. I enjoy a catamaran.
I do too. And you can certainly learn to feel, they start to have the feel, you know, when you're in the groove, you know, when you're sailing well, all those things. So if you were to run into yourself from 10 years ago when you were first looking at boats, what advice would you offer when looking at the Catana specifically? Do you have anything that you would want to tell yourself, or any information you want to give yourself or other people looking at that boat?
Just go for it. You know, it's a great boat, safe boat. You know, if it's in your budget. And um, lots of times with catamarans, it has to do with budgets.
Mhm.
And you just want to find the right fit. And safety and good construction is very important, especially if you're doing round the world sailing. If you're just doing, you know, you can get away with other boats if you're doing more you know, the calmer sailing areas. If
Right.
you're just going to the
Coastal sailing.
Bahamas,
Yeah.
coastal sailing, you know, just small crossings, you know, and any of them are fine. But you know, we were very happy with our Catana. We always felt safe. We always felt very safe with
That's a great place to start or stop. I could
it.
ask you a million more questions because it's fun talking about sailing with you. But thank you so much, Amy. It's really nice to
Sure.
talk about Morning Glory and reminisce a little bit. And thanks.
You're welcome. Nice talking with you, Diane.